All she wanted to do was to flirt. So a Wauwatosa teenager took a selfie and then sent it to a total stranger. That photo became a tool for blackmail. And Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson reports what happened to her could easily happen to you or your child. Brian joins us in the studio tonight. Brian?
Yeah, Ted, the 17-year-old girl we're talking about, she exposed more than just her private body parts. She exposed herself to a powerful form of digital extortion. Now she's telling her story so you and your children know what's really at stake when you hit the send button. On a summer day at Bradford Beach, you see plenty of skin, but it's nothing compared to what some people are sharing on their phones.
I mean, it's definitely a thing.
Think your child would never dare get involved in sexting?
I would never do that.
I just don't think it's a smart idea at all.
I'd tell him I never want to talk to you again.
There's a good chance you're wrong. Have you ever either sent or asked anyone to send you nude photos on the phone?
Of course.
Sexting someone you know is risky enough.
Never a random person.
But sending nude photos to a stranger you met online is a dangerous gamble, since you may not know from a screen name who's really on the other side.
A lot of people, they question, well, why did you do it in the first place?
This Wauwatosa teen, who we'll call Molly, doesn't want us to show her face, but she showed off her body through a social media app called Kik.
I admit that was, careless action on my part.
Molly, who's a lesbian, traded fully nude photos with a 15-year-old girl she knew as Haley. But she grew increasingly uncomfortable as Haley kept demanding to see more. When Molly didn't comply, Haley threatened to post the pictures she'd already sent online.
I was afraid that, if it ended up on the internet, my reputation would be ruined. I thought at the time my life would be ruined.
The fear turned to panic when Haley wrote, "I know people at your school."
I just remember on a daily basis sitting in my room and crying.
"Why me?" Molly wrote. "You don't even know me." Haley replied, "I do it to any whore who's dumb enough to send nudes to random people."
Everyone makes mistakes.
Turns out Haley wasn't totally random, and her name isn't really Haley. In fact, she's not even a girl.
State of Wisconsin versus Cameron Wiley.
Haley is really Cameron Wiley. He was 17 at the time and knew of Molly through a mutual friend. He also knew she was a lesbian, so he pretended to be one too.
The text messages from MP's phone were recovered, and they are pretty shocking. They reek of entitlement.
Posing as a girl, Wiley ordered Molly to address him as Master and vowed to show her what happens to property that doesn't cooperate.
"I'll just upload your whole ass right now.
You think I'm around, you just try me."
I hope that one day he realizes just how scary he was in that situation.
Molly wanted to turn off her phone and forget it ever happened. But that would have been another gamble. Molly was convinced if she cut off contact, the blackmailer would carry out his threat.
Once he has those nude photos, the defendant holds all of the cards.
I felt like he had all control over me.
After 3 days of psychological torture, Molly went to police, who traced the messages back to Wiley.
What a horrible, hateful, spiteful, malicious thing to do to someone.
Wiley was charged with 3 counts of threatening to communicate derogatory information, a crime more commonly known as sextortion.
This type of conduct is becoming epidemic in our society.
Wiley's case is one among several now making their way through the Milwaukee County criminal justice system. And a new study by Indiana University finds 20% of undergraduate college students say they've been coerced into sending sexually explicit photos to another person. Most of the time, the aggressor is not a stranger, but a trusted, intimate partner.
You never know one day from the next what's going to happen, and if that person's going to turn on you.
No one was more surprised by Cameron Wiley's sexual blackmail than his parents.
There is absolutely no way the young man that I'm raising is making these sorts of statements.
Tammy Wiley told the judge she and her husband are married, college-educated, God-fearing Christians who go to church twice a week, eat family meals together, and keep parental controls on the home computer.
You think you got loopholes covered, and you really don't.
They had no clue that their bright, intelligent teen was leading a double life.
I am deeply sorry. Since this incident has happened.
Wiley says he still can't forgive himself for the horrible things he said.
I might as well make you suffer the rest of your life.
When jobs and colleges Google your name, they're gonna see this.
At his sentencing, Judge Rothstein read Wiley the Riot Act.
You're here today asking the court to give you some consideration so that you can have a life, so that you can go to college, so that you can have a good job. Kind of ironic, isn't it?
In the end, though, the judge declined to send Wiley to jail.
These predators are getting off with, a slap on the wrist, and I want to help prevent that from happening again.
Molly wants to see tougher laws for dealing with sextortion. For now, she has a warning to anyone who thinks sexting is just a game.
Never cut yourself that short. Never be that careless about yourself, and know that you deserve more.
At sentencing, Wiley told the judge he had been molested by a family member when he was 4 years old and started viewing pornography by the age of 9. He is now in therapy for those issues. He was sentenced to 1 year of probation, which requires that he continue in therapy, graduate high school. He can't have any social media accounts, and he must undergo a sex offender evaluation. If he completes all those conditions of probation, he could have a conviction erased from his record. That is something the victim was not happy about at all.
Kudos to the victim here, Molly, for speaking up and being a warning for other young people. Those pictures never made the internet, by the way.
They didn't, right? He did not follow
through. She dodged a bullet there. You said this is one of several cases going through the system right now. Did prosecutors say this could just be the tip of the iceberg?
Well, yeah, and a case in point, another case was charged just on Friday, and I just have the criminal complaint right here. This one involves a 21-year-old woman who, when she was 16 years old, sent photos to her boyfriend. Now, think about that. That's 5 years ago. Just last summer, those photos showed up in the hands of another man. No idea how he got his hands on them, but he tried to use those photos to extort her for more. He is now, and that's 22-year-old Justin Tunks of St. Francis, is now charged with 5 felony counts, and he's going to be in court later this week. But it just goes to show that this can come back to haunt you years later. You send those photos one time, you never know when they could come back.
You know, you say to kids, picture your school assembly, and whatever's on your phone goes up in front of the whole school. Are you comfortable with that? If not, get it off your phone. Don't do it.
Good advice.
Yeah, Brian.